Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode here in the lovely World of Raccoons with me, Vanillaraccoon. Heyo! And in this episode, you guys, we are not going to be working on Pamela's Arboretum. Instead, we are going to begin working on the Piggy Wig Sanctuary, which I have already begun to work on off camera. As you guys may be able to tell, let's just go ahead and take our little ender pearl and squirt over here. So what we have going on is we have this jungle theme going on, and I don't mean jungle as in like a Minecraft jungle where you have the jungle logs, the jungle leaves and trees and such. No. We're going, I guess, for a custom Minecraft jungle theme, and the inspiration for this Piggy Wig Sanctuary is going to be that of the movie coming out next year, 2017, which is Kong Skull Island. And when I first watched the official trailer that came out at Comic-Con, I kind of thought to myself, hey, wouldn't it be cool if for the Piggy Wig Sanctuary we had this little role-playing lore going on where we had wild boar ravaging along this island that we have. However, on this side of the island, it's where you may have the indigenous culture living, where they may worship or even out of fear protect the swine that roam about, much like this little swine right here. Aren't you a little cute Piggy Wig? Yes, you are. Oh, you're shy, aren't you? You're a little camera shy. Anywho, so and then on the other side, which we will be working on later on down the road, not in this episode though, is where we will have the official Piggy Wig Sanctuary. I envision at least a wall coming about from about the halfway point of this island, which would be right here, and it would just go up and around, up this hillside and around the island. Now, as to what the wall will be composed of, I'm not entirely sure, but as you guys can tell, we have a pathway, and along this pathway, we have these little dugout trenches. And after doing some research on how wild boar will go about creating nests in the wild, some wild pigs will go ahead and choose a grassland area to pretty much just use their tusks or whatever to carve out a nesting area, and then it is where they will lay for shelter, for protection against predators, and also where they may nurse their young. Now, this is something I heard growing up as a kid, where pigs like to roll around and live in their filth. But after going to an agricultural high school and actually working hands-on with the beloved, hey, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? And working with the beloved Piggy Wig, I've actually come to learn and see from my very own eyes that Piggy Wigs actually really don't roll around in their filth, and they don't live within their poop, the muddy trenches that we all may think or may be told when we're growing up. In fact, they tend to choose, they're very particular, they're very picky with where they're gonna do their business, shall we say. And from what I've seen, at least, they tend to choose the edges of where they're going to be staying at to do their business. And in the opposite ends of where they do their business is where they're going to be nesting around and such. So where we have these path blocks is where we can just envision, like, say, a little Piggy Wig came by, went little poop poop, and then went about his merry little way. And we also have this pathway going along here. Now, the pathway, as you guys can tell, is composed of coarse dirt, and then when we go up the hillside, we have a mixture of half slabs, and actually we don't have the mixture going on right here, but over here we do. We have a mixture of half slabs and cobblestone stairs, and I wanted to give the idea that even though this is a hillside that we will be going up and down, I wanted to give it a wear and tear feel, whereas like the path that is most traveled may have sunken into the ground a little bit, which is where the half slabs will be, whereas the pathways that are not walked upon most may still have may still be intact, and that is what the cobblestone stairs are supposed to resemble. And then right here, as we can tell, we have some more path blocks, but this is not where the Piggy Wigs go to do a little squat and then poop action. It's where it's just aesthetic detailing, getting some diversity into the surrounding block area. But what I wanted to go ahead and do on camera was just... Oh, wait, I got to get a shovel first. But what I wanted to do on camera also with you guys is I just wanted to show you how I went about forming... Can I get a shovel? Which one do I want to use? I think I'm actually going to use this one because I have a ton of grass blocks, as you may see right there. But what I want to do on camera is I want to actually just carve out these little nesting areas, shall we call them, and show you how I went about foraging them, and just do some on-camera action with you guys. I wouldn't call this building, I would just call this on-camera action because we're not really doing that much building. And speaking of building, just to do a little self-promotion for you guys, if this interests you, I recently put out a video called a Minecraft snap set, and what the idea is taking pieces of a structure that would normally be used to build a house and you just snap them together. However, because the first snap set that I laid out for you guys has a kitchen area, has 3 different kitchen areas, has 3 different bedrooms, has 3 different storage rooms, you can use it to actually build your own kitchen structure, your own storage facility, whatever the case may be. And I think it's a pretty cool thing. The reason why I'm doing this now is because I've always wanted to share my building knowledge and skills with you guys, but I really haven't been able to sit down and figure out how I wanted to do it. So eventually, after some time had passed and really thinking how am I going to go about doing this, I finally figured it out. And yeah, so through the power of YouTube cards, there shall be a YouTube card popping up on the top right corner of your screen now, if it hasn't already, where it will take you to the video where you can learn more about it if you wish. Now, as you guys can tell, we do have this little pathway that's going to go along the side, and I think I would like to place a path block right here just to indicate that we have some wild boar here, but I don't think I'm going to place it right there. I think I'm going to place it right here. Oops, wait, that wasn't supposed to be like that. Why do that when I had this in my... Whatever. So, like I said before, the path blocks in this case are to just resemble where the Piggy Wigs go about doing their business, doing a little squat action, and then go poop, and then carry on with their merry little ways. I think I'm actually going to just place this right here. And actually, give me that torch. I need that torch. That torch is mine. So, now that we've got that done, I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is do some bone meal action. And I need bone meal. Here we go. Here's some bone meal. And let's actually grab a pair of shears. That way, we can take what we want and relocate grass bits if we want to. Now, like I said before, some wild pig species, whatever, I can't think of the term right now at the top of my head, may choose grassland areas to create their nest, and usually when they do so, they at least like to do so under a tree, hence why I did my best to try and create these little burial areas, these little nesting grounds close to tree-like areas, so then they can also have some shade in the event, you know, it's a nice sunny day and they don't want to get sunburnt from trying to get a tan job going. And for the most part, I'm really happy with how this looks. One reason why I haven't done that much recording here in the lovely World of Raccoons is because I've been enjoying also doing my Halo 5 multiplayer gameplay videos. I don't even know what to call anymore because I'm experimenting with what I'm doing there. So in the event that, aside from Minecraft catching your eye and being a fancy to you, and you like first-person shooter games or at least Halo videos, then feel free to check that out as well. Let's just go ahead and do this for a little bit, and I think this is looking pretty good. These flowers right here, the yellow dandelion and the poppy flowers, I don't think I'm gonna have them popping around so much in this world. It just doesn't look right. It doesn't look natural. Maybe, no, these won't look right either. I think for this island, I don't want to have any flowers. It doesn't look natural in this custom jungle themed island, if that makes any sense. One thing I do wish that they could add in Minecraft in future updates, maybe even Minecraft 1.11, is give us new flowers, but don't let them be like something that resembles an oxide daisy. Don't change the yellow dandelion to something else, because I remember, this is for my Minecraft veterans out there. If you remember when, was there? Yes, there was. There was something right there. To my Minecraft veterans, if you remember a time when poppies were once just roses, can I get a whoop whoop in the comment section? I mean, seriously, so much has changed from this game. Both good and bad, but at the end of it all, it's a matter of one's perspective, I suppose. Let's just go ahead and throw that down right there, and throw you inside of there, and we have this going on. So, now that I've done all that on camera with you guys, and at least gave you a little education in regards to how wild piggy wigs go about creating their nesting areas, and just catching you guys up to speed with what's been going on with me lately, I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue to work over here, plant some more dark oak trees, and then do a custom job on them, so that way we can have more trees that look like this, more trees that look like this, maybe more trees that look like this, and less trees that look like this. So I'm going to take a quick commercial break, and I'll see you guys in a moment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I begin to unveil to you what it is that I have done off camera, I'd also like to give you guys a brief background story, because background stories can be very informative, very insightful, and also very inspirational. And the background story to how I went and approached what I did is quite an interesting tale, in my honest opinion. So, ever since Pokemon Go was released, I started to go out more often and do some walks around the neighborhood to catch Pokemon. And once I started to gather eggs that I would have to then go on much longer walks to then hatch, I started to not only go out more often, doing more walks, but I also started to go out for jogs. And right now, I do about 15 kilometers of jogging every single day now. And I went from jogging around my neighborhood to going for jogs through the park that is by me. And as I continued to jog throughout the park, I then really started to just look at how the trail, I started to look at the trail, but I would also look at the overgrowth that was beside the trail. And, sorry about that. And once I really started to look at it, and aside from taking photos of the nature and the scenery, I also started to think, you know, I could use this as inspiration for what I want to do for the Piggy Wig Sanctuary. And I'm not saying that this is an ideal environment for piggy wigs to go ahead, create their nest, and that they can then shelter their young, as you guys can see here, and also sleep throughout the night and such, and seek refuge from predators. But I think at least this looks, I don't know. To me, I'm not trying to say this is the ideal environment in which a piggy wig would live in, but if I had to take a guess and attempt to describe the environment, I would describe it like this, where you have a pathway that is a little beaten up, a little worn and torn, but you also have a lot of overgrowth, because like I said in the previous clip, some species of piggy wigs will create their nests, their homes, their burrows in grassy land areas. And for the most part, I think I did a decent job with adding the grass entities. I'm not sure what to call this. The single grass and then the double tall grass. But aside from going for jogs throughout the park, I also would notice, sorry, I'm getting notifications. It's kind of distracting at the moment. As I was going through jogs, I also would notice that not too far from the trees, from trees that were still standing, I would see logs laid out. Now, whether they were once standing on their own and nature took its course and now they are laying on their side, or they were just placed there for the aesthetic details in the park, I'm not entirely sure. But again, I thought, hey, this looks like this looks like something that I could take from in real life and implement it into what I'm doing in a video game, which is of course Minecraft. And as you guys may be able to see here, we don't have a official pathway that branches off into this direction, but it's you can sort of see where there is some grass pieces missing, and that is to at least indicate that, hey, you know, some hooligans, some fools, some youngsters may at times, quite often, branch off from the main trail to go off on their own, do some exploration. Who knows? Maybe in the lovely World of Raccoons, they're out hunting Pokemon. I don't know. That was like a spur of the moment thing to say. Oh yeah, as you guys can tell, I also made a shield, and that is because I was watching a video from the one, the only Mr. Watermelon, and I commented on his video saying, I keep forgetting that shields are now a thing in vanilla Minecraft. So I made a shield and I named it after him, and I also put the Unbreaking 3 enchantment on it, so that way I can have this for quite some time. I'm not sure if I can place the Mending enchantment on this, although it's not expensive to repair a shield. All you need is all you would have to do to make all I would have to do to make a shield is say this poppy is a piece of iron, put the iron, make a boat, and then a thing at the bottom. That's how KB and I describe making the boat. The shield in Minecraft. But yeah, so this is what I've done so far off camera. Now, I went ahead and as I did my bone meal action, I also removed the flowers. And again, I really don't like... I don't think this island is going to have flowers. I mean, I may go over to my swamp village, do some bone meal action there so I can get the blue orchid, I think is the flower, or maybe it's called an azure. No, because an azure is something else, I think, in vanilla Minecraft. Anywho, I may go over to the swamp village, get some blue flowers, and then plant them around here. But I'm also going to do some research to see what kind of flowers in real life would spawn in a jungle area, in a grassland area, so then we can try and get some realism going on for this. But take it all in, you guys. Let's go into F1 mode again, and I'm really happy with how this looks. I'm not rushing it. I'm just taking my time, you know. I'm just doing my thing, getting my build on, doing my research, going for jogs to conduct research out in the field as well, so to speak. And why don't we go ahead, take another quick commercial break, and when we come back, we should have all of this done, maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have this area worked on as well, and that'll be it for the episode. So I'll see you guys in a moment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't really do that much work off camera in between the previous clip and this one here, and that is because I would like to take my time with working on the Piggy Wig Sanctuary. To me, it's like a relationship. You cannot, well, you could, but it's ideal to not rush into the fun parts of the relationship, shall we say, the pleasuring. You gotta get to know what it is you're working with before you can just go on in and have fun, so to speak. And but what I will say is this. Oh, hello there. There you go. So what I want to do is, as I was continuing to get my what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Get out of here, flower! Nobody said you could be here. Let's go ahead and throw on the watermelon as well. So, as I was going around doing some bone action, I started to think about the old school King Kong movies, where you would find a small portion of the island where the indigenous culture would live at. And in the old school King Kong movies, from what I've seen at least, they lived in little tikis, not teepees like Native Americans, but they lived in little huts, little bamboo wooden looking huts. And in the more recent Peter Jackson's King Kong movie, and even in the upcoming Kong Skull Island movie, which is being produced by Legendary and Warner Brothers, I think, don't quote me on that, but in those two movies at least, you see, sorry about that, you see some structures that have at least to me, it appears to be Mesoamerican influence, shall we say, and I think that is something I would like to implement in this part of the island, because like I said a few snippets back, we're gonna have the wall coming from this part of the island. It's gonna come up to this hill. I also shaved off a few layers, if you could not tell already, and I'm also getting some spruce going, so that way when we construct the wall, it'll be composed of dark oak logs, but also if we have stairs and fence gates and fence posts, it'll be composed of spruce. But we'll have a wall coming up this portion of the island. It will cut across this flat terrain right here, and then we'll begin. And then I think I said earlier I wanted it to wrap around the whole island, but now that I think about it, I think I'm just gonna have it come down this hillside here, and then maybe end it in this area, or maybe just create a somewhat flat straight line going across to indicate, all right, behind this wall here we have Seuss. Seuss is the genus name for pig, I think, if I remember correctly. Genus. Anywho, you guys, so at this point now, like I was saying, I want to take my time with this project, and I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think I should do? Should I continue to plant some trees and also lay down some custom dark oak trees in this portion of the island, or do you guys think it would be cool and good, and do you guys think it would also be a good idea for me to just create some small Mesoamerican like structures to indicate that the indigenous let's go ahead and do that there, to indicate that the indigenous culture, it pretty much lives in this portion. I mean, it would make sense because in some King Kong movies, the indigenous culture would go ahead and have create they would have little sacrificial events, whatever, like, in some cases, like, they would take a pretty blonde and attach her to a wooden bridge, and they would lower it across, so then the king of the apes may do as he wishes with her. But I think that's something I would like to do, because I already created a ancient Mayan city-state in this lovely world, which is of raccoons. But considering now I have a better, I think between then and now, my building etiquette, my building skills have developed even more so. I think maybe trying to build a small Mesoamerican styled architecture. The living area here may be cool, maybe something I can improve on for future use, maybe even for another snap set down the line. I could possibly do some Mesoamerican stuff with that. I don't know. But I'm just rambling at this point, so I'm going to end the video here. Thank you all ever so much for tuning in. And remember, if you like what you see, then please give that like button a hug and subscribe for the latest buzz. And if you had a blast with a good laugh, then make sure you favorite this video and share it with a friend or two. But until next time, peeps, this is Vanillaraccoon. Peace out.